Warning: this segment contains dramatic reenactments and material that may be disturbing to some audience members. And hilarious to others! Viewer discretion is advised. When Rarity visited the Crystal Empire to help them secure the Equestrian Games, she did not know that she would end up locked in a life-or-death struggle with Princess Cadence's hair. Known throughout Equestria as the Dead Mare's hairstyle, this incredibly intricate weave, consisting of more than 100 steps, has been known to end the careers of countless stylists. Ponies have lost limbs. Ponies have lost lives. This is a do you don't take lightly. One small mistake could mean curtains for the stylist, and I don't mean pretty flowery ones with matching valances. That day, Rarity found herself struggling to survive against a mass of mane that seemed intent on ending her. Rarity shouldn't be alive. It is officially known as the traditional royal ceremonial headdress, but in the salon industry it is more commonly referred to as the Weave of Doom, the Dead Mare's hairstyle, or simply Benny. Reserved for extremely special occasions, this hairstyle is so complicated it requires a degree in quantum mechanics just to read the instructions. Gazing upon the parchment that holds the more than 100 steps required to complete it would drive most sane ponies mad. However, that is exactly what Ponyville resident Rarity had to do when she offered to perform the hairstyle on Princess Cadence in preparation for the visit from the Equestrian Games advisor. Had she known about the reputation this hairstyle had, and knew about the countless casualties that had come before, perhaps she would have refused. Unfortunately, she agreed to accept the extremely dangerous task, having no idea what she was getting into. Rarity's first mistake was sending all of the other stylists out of the spa. When attempting something that could go disastrously wrong at any moment, the last thing you want to be is alone. As she began making her way through the directions and was able to complete the first few steps successfully, she was lulled into a false sense of security, which in that sort of situation can quickly lead to disaster. Thinking that there was nothing to worry about, she quickened her pace, deftly applying twists, pinches, and braids without paying attention to her place in the list of steps. That is when her mistake occurred, the one that nearly cost her her life. In her haste, and thinking it was optional, she skipped step 12. Suddenly she found herself entangled within Cadence's long flowing mane, wrapped tightly within a cocoon of brightly colored hair from which she could not escape. The follicle tendrils encircled her body and wrapped tightly around her face, making breathing difficult and movement nearly impossible. Cadence, having fallen asleep in the stylist's chair, could not hear Rarity's muffled cries of distress, so although Rarity was screaming at the top of her lungs that this was the worst possible thing, no one came to her aid. Immediately her mind began racing, trying desperately to think of a way to escape her predicament. The entire time, the hair surrounding her was growing tighter and tighter, threatening to suffocate her completely, or worse, mess up her own gorgeous mane. This thought gave her the determination she needed to redouble her efforts to survive. She began frantically clawing at her hairy tomb, looking for any weakness in the layers. By some miracle, she found a tangle of split ends that seemed to indicate a tiny opening in Cadence's mane. With a strength and determination that only a pony being smothered by hair could muster, Rarity pushed a hoof through the weak point and felt around frantically for an item that she could use to free herself. With her oxygen supply dwindling and her vision blurring, she barely managed to grasp a styling brush and began tearing at Cadence's mane with it, hoping beyond hope that she could loosen the hairy winds enough to get free. At first it seemed to do no good, and for a moment Rarity wondered if her foolish overconfidence in her styling ability would finally be the end of her. But then, miraculously, she began to feel the strands loosen. She redoubled her efforts, brushing at the hair with renewed vigor until she was able to burst her head through the side, taking a huge gasp of life-giving air. With a mighty tug, she pulled herself free of the mane that seemed determined to finish her off. She lay panting on the spa floor, the realization of how close she had come to being done in by a hairstyle slowly dawning on her. Rarity's friends had no idea she had been through such an ordeal. Not wanting to worry them, she had collected herself and resumed styling just moments before they arrived to check on her. Of course, this time she was being much more careful to follow the steps, having learned a very important and nearly deadly lesson. Rarity managed to complete the task, but it almost cost her everything. Rarity shouldn't be alive. Next time on I Shouldn't Be Alive, Pinkie Pie nearly suffocates when a prankster replaces the spa mud with gack.